I don't need this shit, man. I do not need this shit right now. Oh my God. Got wife due in 2 weeks. Don't need this shit. Just don't need it. Just don't need it. Up by 21. All right. Nice. Easy. Gonna slide right into that podcast, bang it out, get to that newsletter, feeling good, clip all the good plays, happy shit, all good shit, cooking bacon, frying it up in the pan. Oh. All right. 10 gray hairs? 10 gray hairs. I'll be lucky to come away with 10 gray hairs after this. But we're the New York Knicks, and we are not in a position to complain about any wins because as nice as this season has been, we're still not still not there yet, obviously. Still not there yet. But a win is a win, is a win, is a win, even if it is against the worst team in the league. I mean, look, this is what happens, right? This is what happens when you're a team that losing is ingrained in the culture in Madison Square Garden, and it has been for a very long time. So when you go up by 21, even against a team that is poorly coached and poorly prepared and just like playing young guys and making mistakes and this shit and that shit, this kind of thing happens. And if we're talking real basketball for a second, it reflects the exact same thing that the Orlando game reflected, which is that no matter how things look, and this is ultimately why when we get into conversations about the ceiling of this Knicks team and what does this Knicks team need to get to the next level, it's like at the end of the day, they're a bottom 5 offense. And everything they do, from the defense to, featuring Randall to, trying to mix and match and this and that, the other thing, it's all designed to mask the fact that they are a bottom 5 offense, but they are still a bottom 5 offense. And with the personnel that they have, and this isn't on Tibbs, this isn't on anybody, this isn't on Leon Rose, it's nothing that anybody could change. It is what it is. They're a bottom 5 offense because they don't have any perimeter creation talent. The closest thing they have to perimeter creation talent is a rookie who reminded us tonight and in the Orlando game that he's a rookie and he still is going to have games like this. And I don't begrudge Thibodeau 1 second for not having Quickly in that game down the stretch because he did not earn that right based on how he played. And their other closest thing to a perimeter creation threat is RJ Barrett. And RJ Barrett got them a couple buckets down the stretch. And he also had a couple moments where, I'm sorry, people are gonna get mad at me for bringing this shit up again, but this is why I have the fears about RJ, because he has these moments where you put the ball in his hands and you're like, man, you got to either draw a foul there or at least get a shot attempt up. Somebody asks whether Rose earned that right. Nobody earned that right. Nobody earned that right to be in the game at the end. I guess Peyton did based on how he played, but Tibbs was. And Rose, listen, nobody had a good game. Nobody had a good game other than Julius Randle, who has a good game every game because he's Julius Randle. He's an all-star. Good thing you're just a writer. I don't know what that's referring to. It's just they're in a, this is the spot that they're in. This is the spot that they're in where they have gotten our expectations as a fan base ahead of where they should be, because there's a reason this team had an over-under, and excuse me, I'm just pulling up the Zoom for the post game. I'll be very curious to see Tibbs' demeanor in this one, boy. Let me tell you. There's a reason they had an over-under 22.5 games. Because this is what they are, and they've out punted that by their defense. Michael Aaron with a comment in the super chat. Thank you very much, Michael Aaron. Noel was having issues closing out on Cat's 3-pointers. Do you think we could have put Obi at the 4 and Randall on Cat? Great Breen interview. Thanks on 300. Thank you very much for the comment. I don't think that if I'm Thibodeau, I would have trusted Obi Toppin defensively in this game down the stretch. I wouldn't have trusted him myself. I thought Noel did an okay job. I know he had his moments where he did not do as good a job on Towns as he could have been, but in fairness, Karl Anthony. But that's the mystery box that is Karl Anthony Towns. He should be the best offensive player in the NBA, and the fact that he's only the 10th best offensive player in the NBA, speaks to his issues. But Towns is a guy that can do that to a team in a quarter. And, he got to borrow the Simmons line, he got the full car wash package. And he's not making the most of it, and that's on him. I don't put that on Noel. I thought Taj did a great job at that last play to force a tough shot from Towns that rimmed out, thank God. I was fine with the defensive coverages. I mean, the Wolves just made some shots, but the Knicks defense here's the thing. The Knicks offense didn't win that game. The Knicks defense won that game because in the end, they just won a game in which they scored, 14 points in the fourth quarter? 16 points in this fourth. They were outscored 28-16 in the fourth quarter. And it sounds funny to say that their defense won that game, but I think their defense won that game for them. You can only withstand so much. Oh, goodness. I feel RJ with time will figure out how to hit those close shots he gets. I hope so too. He's still 20. I'm very hard on RJ Barrett because I expect a lot from RJ Barrett, and that is a compliment to RJ Barrett, how much I expect from him and how highly I think of him. When I disparage him, it is not because I think lowly of him. It is because I think a lot of him. And, when he doesn't live up to that, it's disappointing, but we're fans. That's what happens when when our players don't give us what we want. But listen, they won enough. They made enough shots to win this game. So that's all that matters. Is Towns available in a trade? No, unfortunately. Rose is 2 for 20 shooting in the last 2 games. He better get it together. Yeah, he fucking better get it together because this is the version of Rose that I had my fears that they were trading for. Collins starting to feel bad for Randall, which boy, how far we've come. Randall's a guy. He's again without him, they're the worst team in the league. So I don't feel bad for Randall because it's not just him that the coaching staff has brought up. It's everybody that the coaching staff has brought up. And I don't, for as much as he's by far the best player on this team, it's been a team effort. You don't get to 15 and 16 without it being a team effort. And at the end of the day, for as much as this was a disgraceful performance to let that lead slip away, and it started innocently enough, right? It started with the second unit letting up their guard, and then a careless play here, careless play there. And I think Steve Popper tweeted it out. It went from 16 to 10 in the first 95 seconds of the fourth quarter. Didn't take a lot. But that's the thing. In the league today, offenses are good enough that could happen, even against a team like the Timberwolves when they have a guy like Karl Anthony Towns. Yeah, I agree. Towns is pretty soft. RJ Barrett, 1 free throw attempt is ridiculous. I think, I talked about it on my halftime Zoom that RJ doesn't get a lot of calls. I think it's a little ridiculous that he doesn't get more calls, but I also think he needs to be better at getting more calls. And drawing more contact and forcing the ref's hand because he has that ability, I think. Jason Vizcarra, the game fell apart with the second unit. I completely agree. I actually thought the game – I thought – listen, the way this game started out, if the second unit came in and did their job, they would have had the Knicks up by 20 in the first half, and the first unit would have made this a 30-point lead in the third quarter, and I wouldn't be sitting here with a vein popping out of my head right now. So I agree. The second unit is the reason they almost lost this game. God. IQ was playing better before Rose. You know, the numbers don't indicate as much, at least as far as IQ with the subs go. IQ with Randall, the numbers indicate that pairing was working brilliantly. And maybe since that's an interesting thing to think about. Does Rose being injected in take away more of the possibility for those quickly Randall and like, you know, a couple of shooters or a shooter and RJ and a rim threat minutes? And well, we got him against Orlando. It didn't work out then. So, but that was one game. But it does show that Tibbs is not afraid to go back to that quickly as essentially the only point guard on the floor. So I'm not willing to say that the, you know, Rose completely has killed Quickly's vibe. He's a rookie, and someone who I won't name texted me earlier in the fourth quarter and was like, maybe Quickly's just hitting the rookie wall. They've played 30 games. So if Quickly, or 31, this is around the time when rookies tend to start to hit that wall. Yeah, I think they're just figuring it out. A lot of questions now in the chat, DJ the GOAT, about how Quickly and Rose are working together. I think they're going to figure it out. I mean, here's the thing. Rose I think he has come into this with good intentions. I think the execution in the last two games has just been poor. I'm not worried about Rose yet, or God knows I'm not worried about Quickly. Am I hearing anything about Beal? No. Other than the report that was out today from, I guess, Michael K. But I think every team in the league is probably trying to get Beal's people to ask for a trade. Let's see. Philip Spatola. Even though the fourth quarter was brutal, we lose this game last year because one bad loss to the Magic would have snowballed. I agree. Okay. We got Tibbs here. I'm going to go. Thank you, everybody. I'm sorry this was short, but I will see you after the next game. All right? Be well.
Coach, your team showed a lot of resiliency to make sure